It works? Does it work? I just need to know if it works. I'm trying. Hi, Lupita. Hi, Jessica. I'm just going to leave it right here, even though it's weird for me. Yeah, if you guys can hear and see me, I don't need to see myself. But hello. Hello. It's good to see you. Hi. Hi, gato. Isn't that a cat? Gato isn't that a cat? Hi, friends. Where have you been? Where have you been? Where have y'all been in my life? I'm so happy to see you guys. It's so great to see you guys. Well, now that we're like using all my technology stuff, which, if I'm honest with you, is a huge pain in the hiney. That's right, the hiney. But once you get it down, I guess it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. I want to see if I can share my monitor with you guys. And boop. There we go. How about that? All right, now I'm going to come back here and I'm going to go to the chart of the moment. So you guys, let me know if you can see this doggone chart and what it looks like, because I have no clue. I mean, that's pretty good size, right? You guys can see that. Yay! Little by little, right? What's that? That's so terrible, right? I don't even know what I'm doing with this. Forget you. I ain't got time for all that snippet business. Exit. Turn it off. Turn it off. If we're going to look at the charts together, where's my extensions? There you are. That's the one I use, even though it's a bit weird. So this is the chart for the day, my friends. And there's a lot to talk about. And yes, I have my cards, but you know, it's kind of around lunchtime for those in Mountain Time Zone. And the folks on the East Coast, you know, they're going to get off work before the rest of y'all do. But I need to remember what the crap I'm talking about here. Like if I turn my internal focus to the charts, Libra, Sagittarius, and then Cancer and Gemini. Those four seem to be getting I don't know, what would you call it? An overhaul in some way with some sort of message or news that's supposed to add to your future, you know? I do also think that Pisces and Aries recently had a situation where they needed or gave assistance and it came out of nowhere. That part is there too. Like, oh my God, that just came out of nowhere. I know Taurus energy is trying to speed up the process of letting something go. And for those of you where Taurus rules, your third house or your ninth house or Mercury or, your mental processes may be going faster than normal to come to conclusions quicker. And that's rare for a Taurus, Mercury, Gemini, third house sort of situation because you guys, ninth house, you guys take a little bit of time to change your mind. And by a little bit of time, I mean roughly 85 to 125 years before y'all catch up and go, oh, oh, that's what it is. Well, okay. All right. I need to check. Hi, it's my handle. I've got to figure out a way how to connect. Here, if I pop out the chat, will it let me pop out the chat? All right. Well, I do want to chit chat with you guys. So I know that astrology is, things are moving, right? I was talking with Heather and Allie this week about the effects of Pluto and Juno. Juno is moved out in front of Pluto. But if you guys haven't noticed, a lot of our relationships are kind of getting this overhaul. There's some sort of weird relationship theme that's going on, but it's also attached to who you are. Some of you, well, I guess it would all depend on the chart, It would depend on the chart. Cancer and, Jupiter and Venus are kissing, they're touching in the sign of Cancer, but it's also opposite Pluto. So, in a sense, it will carry perhaps not just love, but affection. This is also meant to, like, everybody's like, I know Cancer's so lucky. Jupiter is luck, and people repeat that constantly. But if I tell you what my take is on Jupiter real quick, it would sound a lot like this. Everything in the chart, according to Stephen Arroyo, is it Stephen Arroyo? No, Dane Rudyard. According to Dane Rudyard, everything in the chart is feeding the moon over here. Everything in the chart is trying to feed the moon, especially Saturn. Saturn's over here in Aries. So there is, if I showed you a picture of an atom and I showed you its nucleus and then we opened it up, I think if you guys just hang with me real quick, sorry, I know it wants me to go through Google, but I pay for this stuff, you guys. real-time volumetric 3D imaging of cells. And it just happened the other day where these scientists right here, Sunho Lee, Diwu, Dina Malaunda, Claire Robert, and Mikhail G. Shapiro from Nature. I think they posted this in Nature Communications, but they did it literally just maybe a week and a half ago. Jupiter and Cancer, right? So what they did is they were able to take the first picture. I ain't gonna download no movie. Psh, cállate. Whole organ and whole body 3D cell atlas. Hidden 3D cell networks revealed with new nanoscope. No. I can't believe I'm doing this. It's never a waste of time, right? I'm always on time. So real time, of a living minimal cell. That's the one I wanted. Eureka Alert report states that 2 videos walk viewers through the full 3D simulation, which is kind of cool. Not gonna lie. That is kind of cool. Look at this picture, y'all. Just look at that. Looks like a computer, doesn't it? A simulated cell in the early stages of division. The left half shows cytoplasm, blue cubes, mRNA degradation, machinery molecules, pink, and sugar transporters, brown. My cells are covered in a lot of brown because I like sugar. Look at this one. Now, all of it's moving, it's kind of cool. But if I go over here and I pull up a chart, every piece of this is either bringing energy to fuel the cell or it's taking it away. And when you look at the chart, it's built kind of the same way, where there are certain things that are bringing the moon, like Jupiter. The moon doesn't get to try out the new buffet down the road until Jupiter finds it. The moon doesn't get to eat the new Panda Express that just opened across town until Jupiter finds it. Some of these systems are internal, and they're meant to stay within, I don't know, the closer planets, I would say. But Jupiter is the one that goes out and seeks. Sure, the hunter-gatherer sort of position. This is the person that wakes up in the morning and they have drive and motivation. And they say, you know what? Everybody's going to want to eat tonight. So I better go fishing. I better go find some food. So when Jupiter is in Cancer, Jupiter is hunting in the realm of Cancer and finding all the Cancer things like marshmallows, Hershey's, graham crackers. I would associate that with Cancer, especially if you're a family that's into that. It's hunting in areas of family tradition, family connections. It would also hunt in the realm of what's inside of your home, because everybody goes out into the world, right? Jupiter, and they go shopping, Leo, and they bring a friend or a relative, Libra, right? We see the whole hot mess get in the vehicle and everybody drives to the Cheesecake Factory and to go to the stores. What do? They Aries, they're looking for what they desire, and they're walking through and they're like, right? The Taurus goes, that color is my color. That dish is my dish. That cocktail is my cocktail. This is very bougie with Taurus, okay? And then you guys bring that stuff home and you put it all over your house so you can stare at what you've chosen for yourself. And that's Cancer energy. It's developing a container that reflects the Aries part. And it's challenging because with Cancer, usually there's other people, even animals, that occupy the space, you know, where you drop your britches and go take a shower, change into pajamas and go lay in bed. So Jupiter is in the realm of Cancer. Capiche? And Jupiter is hunting those grounds. Cancer will also include family relationships, family ideals, right? If you have Cancer with Venus there, this could be love relationships at home. It could also be how to decorate the inside of your house. If you're throwing a party of some sort, Venus would bring out the romance. There is somebody right now, I promise you on my life, there is somebody right now at home or at work with Twilight on the television. And they're watching Bella and Edward make out in the woods and have these really weird conversations with one another that aren't really exciting, like in a positive way. It's like survival mode for vampires, right? But someone is watching the romance. Someone is watching or talking about the romance, seeking out hugs, kisses, you know, everything a very joyful, happy Cancer person would do. If there's a person right now that always wanted to have pet goats, they're outside building a fence. And they know exactly which goats they're going to come bring home and hug and squeeze and call George. So Cancer, in the realm of Cancer, it does cover softer things. But if you guys haven't noticed, a year ago today, are you not, does it feel like you have deja vu right now? Like you're back in the same spot, but the situation is a little different, right? Because it happened a year ago. Jupiter took off and went retrograde in November and backed up in Cancer, right? So anytime we have a retrograde, this is an energy we have to repeat. So here goes Jupiter backing up like, oh my goodness, I dropped my spectacles in the forest of Cancer somewhere. I got to go find them. We can't do without this part. We must go back for it. And there goes Cancer, right? Going back through the retrograde part, the repeatable part. I also want to say the influence that's coming from the, if you guys can look at the chart down here in Scorpio energy, the asteroid Karma has been cruising through Scorpio. And so where do we put our personal power? What is the worth of this, the cost of this that we've hung on to for the past year? If it's an ambition and it's something you wanted to reach for, what has been the cost? I think Scorpio energy has been lying. I almost used the word flaccid, but that might not be the best word. I think Scorpio energy perhaps has been neglected during this past year. Some would even say abandonment wounds being triggered. But as Jupiter went retrograde all the way back, I think Jupiter went back to 8 degrees. Don't quote me on that, I could be wrong. But over the course of the last year, Jupiter went forward and went direct again. I want to say it was 2 days ago, Jupiter was right at the spot where it began its journey backwards. And now it's returned. Like, oh, I remember this tree. This was the last tree we were at a year ago. So now all of a sudden we can take these steps forward. So all of us have been getting hit with something that we're supposed to let go and we're supposed to drop. Some of you, it's an idea because it's just either unrealistic or it costs too much, or, with Mars and Taurus, it could ask a question in a very real way. Like, Taurus wants the value out of something. All right, why else do you think they take their $5 bill, head on down to the flea market down the road? Because they're going to find a winner. They're going to hang on to that thing and use that thing until it dissolves in their hands. The Taurus energy might say, for the price that I've paid for this, for holding on to this for the past year, the cost, you damn right, I'm going to make this thing pay me back. You doggone right, I'm going to turn around and say, this object right here is going to work for me and give me its dividends because it costs too much. If you guys have had like a serious loss of some kind in your family or with your home or something like that, you guys ever get really mad at something like that, like really angry or upset, and you're like, you know what? I'm not just gonna let this go and throw it in the trash and pretend like nobody paid a price for this. We all paid a price for this. So guess what? This is what we're eating for dinner. It sounds very Taurian, right? Like, hell no, you're not going to throw that food out. Look how much I paid for it. Everybody's going to eat everything on this table. And some, come on, let's not play stupid games. Some people might be saying that. The cost of whatever was held on to was too strong. So, everybody sit down. Going to catch the worth out of this. Its value has increased by what we have lost due to this thing. For others of you, the cost of it wasn't worth it. Wasn't worth a damn. You can't get your gamble back. You can't get your risk back. But you can change your mind. And that's why Mars up here in Taurus is actually in Taurus. Right there. Now, Mars is at 17 degrees right now. But it's going this way. And I don't think it's going retrograde. But we'll talk about Mercury retrograde in a second, I guess. Mars is heading up towards the 22nd degree. You guys know what the 22nd degree is, right? It's ruled by Capricorn. And when Mars moves to the 22nd degree of Taurus, we may see some of the industry or industriousness of how quickly we can jump back into the gear. Like 22 will then be trining Pars Fortuna over here in Cancer, and still close enough to Jupiter and Venus, more than likely, creating a sextile. And a sextile symbol kind of looks like this, which is cool because that's pretty simple for me to do. And this is usually a benefactor. The sextile is, but it's weird because sextiles are positive. However, they would lend a little bit more towards like the meaning of the South Node. You have picked up skills. You have made certain connections and relationships. Between Taurus and Cancer, you can very well see Taurus rules the earth, the dirt, the soil, the house, the land, the flesh, whatever it is on this planet that you could touch. Let's just throw all the nouns in the world, all the nouns go to Taurus. Okay. The nouns are touching Cancer, and Cancer is a container. It's a womb. It's work that is done inside of an enclosed space, and depending on how much you value the enclosed space, some folks treat those spaces as if they're holy. Some folks treat those spaces as if they're a free-for-all. If you are in a relationship with someone else and you both have agreed to the relationship, even if it's a polyamorous relationship, the space between me and you, the close proximity, the outward agreement that we're joining together is its own container. It is its own womb. And both you guys go swimming in there into this silent place, this quiet place, this alone place. Some of you are doing it at work and you're just going into the closet. Did I tell you that story when I was in basic training? Oh my God. There were 2 people in basic training that got caught kind of doing it in the stairwell. Yeah. Them drill sergeants. They gave them 5-gallon buckets for each hand, and they went up 3 stories and came down 3 stories and went up 3 stories and down 3. They did that for 3 days straight. It was bad. But before they could come into close proximity, there's some sort of even animal ritual that humans do to feel safe enough to put ourselves close enough to that, creates the womb. It's the question of, would you like to come inside? Where there is a protected womb before we make the one-on-one womb. And it depends on how you treat that space. Some people, they don't give a diddly dang about the space between me and you. You guys have met those people. They don't feel that connection is holy, or they don't feel that connection has worth. Bitches. You know them bitches do. For someone like me, I have a Libra moon, so connections are they're at the top of the list for me. There would have been some sort of understanding like that. Like, holy moly, there is a space between me and this piece of land. Or there's something I feel here on this piece of land. Or, this crib is the one, and I've been afraid to tell you, but this is the crib. And I know that you got to sell your car to do it, but this is the one. It's like that. This is the one, right? And Mars is saying, okay. What can you let go? What do we have to keep so that this upgraded version, because Cancer is ahead of Taurus, this upgraded version over here includes the idea of a true womb, a true home. Like, what makes a home a home? That question. Who are the people in your world where you feel at home with? And it wouldn't matter where you were at. This is home. I got to follow these people around like my dogs. They follow me everywhere because I am home to the dogs. Bailey, pobrecita. You should have seen her face. I had to go get her a new toy, a new baby. She likes her babies. I think she's got strong Cancer. This dog. Anyway, let me put the monitor away for a second. I did that wrong. So that I can hang out with you guys a little and say hello. Hello. Where are you guys at? There you are. What do we have? Oh, there's Heather. Yeah, Heather's in Kansas for the week, and her children are just giving her all the loves and hugs. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, her cat Luna is so mad. You should see this cat's face. The cat is mad that Mama has left. Hi, Brandon. Hi, friend. Hi, you guys. I know I've been talking about the chart. Really cool movements going on. I hope relationships are, it's kind of like that thing where what happened with Pluto and Capricorn, Neptune and Pisces, all that jazz. It's kind of like, well, it's over there and it's done, and let's move future forward, right? Future forward. All the loves and my cats hate me right now. I know. They don't hate you. They hate you while you're gone. Because as soon as you walk in the door, it'll be like, that emotional scene. So they only hate you when you're gone. These cats are codependent. Well, while I have you guys live, I know I could spend a million years doing the charts, but why do that? Why do that when I have cards in front of me? Oh, wait, before I get started on this, y'all, and if you're over on the Patreon channel or YouTube memberships, I put a post on there for you guys recently. I know that I've been saying it, but you just need to trust me, because I had surgery last Friday. Like, I have an ice pack right now on my back. And it wasn't really surgery. It was a procedure. They did a bilateral, I don't know, they went into my pelvic joints on both sides, and they were testing a block to see if the block would work. The block did not work. Yay! Which tells me that my back surgery from 2019 did not work. It failed. And I've been cranking away with all this whole time. I was pretty upset. They were like, you're going to have to redo like 3 surgeries. I was like, well, what else have I got to do? And I have to do a colonoscopy, and I have like my infusions, and and I'm like, I think the pity party lasted about a day, and then I got my butt up, because that's, what's pity gonna get you? Not far. Just turned my focus. It took me about 2 or 3 days to get back to the really exciting thing that I've been building, and it's called Signature of Us. Okay. Last week, NASA had a discovery, and NASA found that there are electromagnetic waves that are just as important as gravity in our atmosphere. What are these magnetic waves doing in our atmosphere? Oh no, says NASA. What can we learn about it? Like, humans cannot exist without this. I don't understand. Well, I know Heather and I do. And we're like, I feel like the physics, the physics that are being done out there with CERN, and they're moving antimatter right now in a bunch of trucks all over the place so they can perform their experiments with antimatter. And I'm like, bitches, if you open that can of worms, we're dead. And you're just going to go driving it out into the countryside. Okay. Yeah, the electromagnetic waves. It's awesome because you and I have a blueprint with the chart. Our blueprint tells us how our field will be influenced as we move about the world, as we meet people and animals and the mailman and all sorts of stuff. But wouldn't it be a thing if we could gauge the influence of your relationships to see which ones harmonize with your electrical field and which ones don't? Without guesswork, without needing an interpreter, without needing a reading. And that's what I've built. Is it with AI? Yes, but these are my formulas. I built it. I created it. And then I told AI to run it. These are the formulas, stacking it like this. Each report has its own. Scan it. And I put two people together, and AI runs the scan and spits out the results. I double check the work, and I go through the chart, and I go through the scan, and I go through the chart, and I go through the scan. For me, it kind of like opened up all of these new ideas about a new social interactive tool to assist. I'm terrible at choosing people. I really am. When it comes to one, maybe two areas of my life, I am the worst person to go out and choose people because they really cannot stand me. They really cannot stand me at all. And everybody has these people. But what if you could figure out which ones are disharmonizing your field to have it in black and white? That's what I built. It's amazing. Oh, thank you so much. It's my handle. I mean, that's the other thing. Wouldn't you like to know the reason why you're here? And you guys have all asked me that question. So the first scan is built to answer that. This is why you are here. First scan. And I want to say it's going to be maybe... I have to go run around town today. I got to go to the accountant. I got to go to the pharmacy. I got to go get the dogs some dog food. There's some running around I got to do. So I can't necessarily guarantee that the link will be finished today. However, I can probably guarantee you that the link will be finished tomorrow or Saturday, where I can actually launch this product for you guys to start trying. I am giving a 50% discount on the first scan to any of my YouTube members or my patrons over on the Patreon channel. So what will cost everyone else about $45 plus tax is going to cost my patrons and my Patreon over on Patreon, the YouTube members, it's going to cost $22.50 plus tax. So the first one is called the compass scan, and we need to see where you are first before we use anybody else. So the first scan tells you why you're here, what your purpose is, what you're developing towards. It's sort of like getting a speed read for evolutionary astrology, except I didn't just use evolutionary astrology. When you step into the second scan, which is not quite finished yet, I'm launching the first one so that I can work on the second one. The second one is the one that puts you and your partner together for the first time. And it's going to scan the results of your charts using 4 or 5 different systems. And it'll tell you straight up, is this a soulmate contract? Is it a karmic contract? Is it a twin flame contract? What kind of contract is this between me and this person? Because that's the doozy. And I've done it for some people, and I've done it for myself. And not gonna lie, it led me personally into some really deep conversations that, I mean, once the report spits it out in black and white, do you have anything else to hide? Not really. And now you're sitting down and the other person's like, you really felt that way? And I was like, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I was just afraid to tell you. I wasn't forthright and honest with you because I didn't want to hurt your feelings, when in truth, you can't take responsibility for something you personally didn't do, and you can't control how another person will feel, but you can control whether you're honest or not. and all of us have done it. I'm not, you know what I mean? But I'm just saying the report kind of forced the conversation. Like last weekend, that's all it was really intense conversations because I had run some reports. On the flip side, of the backside of these really intense conversations, curiously, everything started smoothing out. And instead of losing, I was able to keep. All I had to do was change my perspective on how I viewed something. And I can assign meaning, a different meaning to anything. I can pick this cup up and I can give it the meaning that says, this is the most beloved cup. Hamalam alaikum. You know, this is now a holy cup. I have anointed it and I'm going to put it up on the shelf. And now I make everybody else look at the cup when they come in and say, thank you, cup. Or I can assign the cup of meaning that says, this isn't my cup anymore. I'm giving it to the dog. That's a dog's cup now. Boom. And right then and there, you have changed the meaning. And we're told to do that. We're told to look at something with a more positive perspective to keep ourselves in a frequency of not just high vibing, but love. We're supposed to get to the point of love, where we get to the point where we look outside at a tree and it's not a separate thing from you. You are the tree is you. You are filled with electrical pulses, and so is that doggone tree. They just discovered this past week, all of these, just, you know me and my discoveries, that the carbon exchange between our out breath and what they receive in, the trees are memorizing us. They're taking record of us. They just discovered that. The Akashic records, I bet you they're in the trees. But they just found the exchange of energy pulses. So yeah, it's standing in a moment and observing that, you know, all the beautiful things I see in the dogs, the goo-goo talk that I talk at the dogs. It's because I see myself there. I am the dog, but in the dog form. So of course I'm going to give it goo-goo lips, kisses, and hugs because it's connected to me. And things that are connected to me, I want to show love as I show myself love. Or it's sort of like walking in the room and saying, that's it. That's it. Everybody in here is getting the same amount of love, dang it. I don't want to hear no guff. It's like that. Everything in the room is honored, respected, treated well, especially ourselves. But even with ourselves, we need mental discipline. And I'm the worst at that. I get so... You can ask Heather, I do like 6 chores at the same time. That's because this one is running and that one is running and this one is... We all do the multitask thing. So, can you guys tell me how your week has been? Or do you want me to lay the cards and get nosy? Because once I start running these reports, you guys are... It's going to be good. I wonder if I should. Is there someone... I wonder, should I, Heather? Babe, I know you're here, my love. Should I just do it and take somebody's information and run the compass scan and show it? I don't know. Maybe I should do a poll. Let me do a poll. And let me see. Should I run a volunteer's compass scan? Starting the poll. And let's see what you guys say if you're with me. I don't even know how many of you guys are with me right now. So I guess I have to go look. Jen would volunteer. That would be awesome so that you can see what I'm talking about. Hold on, I want to see all my people say hi to me so that I can feel you guys. I'm such a dork. Look at my eyes. I'm such a dork. Oh, there's only 8 of us in here. That's cool. That means there's 6 of us. Okay. Thank you. It's my handle. Thank you, Jen. Wow, 200 jewels. I don't even know what that means, but thank you so much for those. I appreciate it. Who was that? Jen? Psh, all right. Jen just got her chart. All righty. Let me set it up. Now, because it's being filtered, like, how would you say it? I set up the formulas, which is the filter. That's why I'm a Virgo. I set up the filter, right? The funnel. AI is going to take your data and run it real fast through all all of them, all the layers of my filter, and then spit it out. So because it's AI and because everybody's working with AI right now, and it's in the middle of the day, it might take a second, Jen. However, it will spit it out. Where are we at? Where's Jen? This is like the pre-launch to the pre-launch, right? This is the pre-launch to the launch. Where'd Jen go? Jen, give me your birthday info, sweets. There we go. You know, and because it's a system that I can double check, I'm working with it at the same time. Jen, send me your birth information, babe. Let me look at my volunteer list and my email. I mean, there we go, volunteer charts. I've got Lisa Still, Jerry Long, Allie, Kaylin, Polly, Gloria, and Tracy. So if I didn't call out your name, I don't have your stuff because it got erased, you know, a few years ago when the channel puked out. Yeah. The first one, look at y'all. Greedy, greedy, greedy. It's at Gen-FX9Q0. But however, Meehan, we can get to you as well if we get through Jen. Yeah, Jen's in Florida. The Jen I'm talking about, she's in South Florida. I've volunteered to read me before and had oh, cool. This is something more compact. Let me run through Jen in Florida first so you can see what it is. I'm also going to say, you guys, that I am not a marketer. I've tried for years to be a good marketer, and I can't do it. So you guys are going to have to share all my info with all your people once you see this. So I'm going to write Jen in Florida. I need December 8th, 1967. I need a birth location and birth time. Birth location and birth time. Don't be switching my business. God. Yeah, we need your birth time and we need your birth location. Seven votes. See, I can get through 7 of them, but you guys got to be like Johnny on the spot. Give me your info. Yeah, Jenna Lynn. Do I have Jenna Lynn up still? Let me check, Jenna Lynn. I might have your stuff still up. I have Kaylee's stuff up. Oh, that's Heather's Kaylee. No, I don't have Jenna Lynn stuff. Jenna Lynn, send me your stuff. Oh, cool. Thank you, Jen. She's in Newark, New Jersey, 5:47 a.m. And yeah, Jenna Lynn, chart data like that is not confidential. You know, there's nothing where I could pull up your birth data and then turn it into a social security number, you know. If you want to email it to me or send it in Facebook Messenger, Jenna Lynn, that's fine. I'll see it flashing. Oh, I've got Brandon's chart. You just hang on. So far, we've got Jen. So I'm going to plug Jen into the chart. I'm going to put Jen in Florida, South Florida. That's so funny. Okay, so we've got the 8th of December, 1967 at 5:47 a.m. in Newark, New Jersey. There we go. Okay, let me take out the transits. I wish I had some music I could play for you guys while I do my business. Jen in Florida. And then I need that. Okay, now I'm going to step over to Claude. I had to upgrade all of my stuff to Claude, which is also what took a bunch of time. God bless us all. There you are, Jen in Florida. Okay. That's the other thing about the report. I need everyone's pronouns when we're actually rolling with the launch. I'll need the pronouns so that the report printed is correct. Okay, now while it's taking its time, let me check back to make sure everybody has answered questions. You said 5:47 p.m. Okay, hold on. That matters. In a big way, that matters. Okay. Okay. That's polite. I do think that Claude is much more professional than Copilot was. Claude is very straightforward, and I like that. Okay, it's uploading the new. Okay. Now let's get back. Great. Heather, do your cats tear up toilet paper? Thank you, Brandon. How do I get my cat to stop? Make it stop. Yes, Luna has Q-tips all over the bathroom counter. Like there's 4 of them or 5 of them. They figured out how to get in your cabinets. Smart little. Mm-mm. Okay, I tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna add it's an electromagnetic field, and I will go from the top down so that you can see what this is. It is real. This is not something I'm pretending or faking out. In fact, it would be impossible to do that because I don't even know if I'm that smart. Okay. See this? This is our sun. And this little blue dot right here, that's the Earth right there. And these huge circles are electromagnetic waves. And as the planets traverse in their revolutions and their rotations around the sun, these things actually change. That was not good. I don't know what I just did there. These will move and these will change like that. And you can see right here how intense this field has gotten. You know, it could be because of proximity, could be because of solar wind, who the heck knows, but our planets have these going on all the time. We can see the Earth has its own electromagnetic field because of this. You guys know the aurora borealis? That's the effect. That is an electromagnetic field wave. You're seeing the wave. That's what they're seeing in the sky, in the night sky. And they stand underneath these things and they're like, oh my God, they're so beautiful. And it's kind of like Jupiter says, hello. You know what I mean? The Earth has its own magnetic field, just like the other planets do. But some planets, like I say, are bigger than others. And as they travel and move, these can get a lot more intense, like this one. Does that make sense? Great. Let's keep going. So, as these waves travel through space, there's nothing really to stop it. You know what I mean? And they echo, 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 echo until they hit something. I mean, it's not It's not rocket science, but at the same time, it's just now being validated by science. So, if I take you into the human field of what this looks like, I mean, this is like a really good picture of the spine. And I'm right in front of it. So let me move the spine with all of its nerve endings going out and communicating to the rest of your body. I know I look silly, but I wasn't prepared for this. I'm never prepared to go live. The electricity pulses are coming from the brain stem, right? I had to show you the brain stem, traveling through the nerves and the nervous system. And in the brain, when we're looking at the brain right here, and you guys have seen brain scans, right? What machine do they use to scan your brain? An MRI, which is made out of magnets. The brain itself operates off of 20 kilowatts of energy. That is less than your light bulb, any light bulb in your house. Our brain is producing electricity that shoots down our spine. And as we all know, that one picture that I can't find apparently, you know, where the circle and the field, I won't take all day, but you guys know which one I'm talking about. So I posit, I present an idea that sort of says, if the planets are out there creating a bunch of ruckus and all of their electromagnetic waves are hitting everyone all over the place, then our electric fields, when they come in contact with people, places, or things, will be affected. Thus, we start with the chart, which is a singular point on the planet of the day that you were born and took your first breath. And the coordinate is written down. And the impression is that at your birth, with your first breath, there were magnetic waves going on. And it left its mark on you. But we have the blueprint, which is your chart. Okay, let's see. Let me double check its work because I don't want to spend a bunch of time fixing it. Let's see, we have 13 degrees, 16 of Pisces for the midheaven, 5 degrees, 51 for the ascendant, Capricorn, quadrants. Oh, got a heavy second quadrant, yin energy, purpose and surrender. The internal creative quadrant, which is the second quadrant. Heather has a lot in her second quadrant too. Carrying 7 of 12, a strong clear needle, think compass needle. Polarity point is a steadying force. Quadrant 4 is purpose and surrender. The North Node lives there in Aries in the 11th, which confirms quadrant 4th as the growth direction. The chart wants to bring the private creative gift up and out into the public and the collective. Note that both the needle and the polarity sit in the yin quadrants. The 2 yang quadrants are nearly empty. This is an inward pressing chart whose growth move is also inward and upward, not outward into assertion or partnership. The seesaw beam runs quadrant 2 to quadrant 4 from the private studio and daily craft into the visible offering and the surrender to something larger. Okay. It's telling me what it sees. The framework names the Pisces house as the teaching channel by the in conjunct rule. But Aries and Pisces are adjacent signs, not 150-degree apart. The houses still land cleanly, celebrating the 11th, teach through the 10th. And I read it that way, but I want your eye on whether the celebration to teaching move reads true for this chart or whether the geometry wants a second look. No, that reads true. It's just taken her a really, really long time to get there. You know what I mean? Okay. Over to you. I know Jen is so excited. Now, notice it paused and it stopped. The machine stopped and said, now I'm kicking it to you. That's the part where Heather or I would sit down and double check the scan against your chart and then add any of the personal pieces that we saw in the chart. So when I show you the example of the document that you would receive, it is actually a co-working process between us and Claude. It's just for like the filtering part of it goes so much faster, and it can set the words into a document ready to print for me, so I don't have to do a bunch of administrative work. I can spend actually more time with your chart, which is the part Heather and I love to do anyway. So it is drafting the document, and I will show it to you in a second. Oh, you have brother cats. Okay, gentlemen, hang on real quick. Like I said, it takes Claude. This is a 5-page report, and this is just for the compass scan. When we get to the relationship scans, those things are like 30 to 60 pages long. And I mean, it gives you everything. You just start flipping through the book, whatever your Nook or your Kindle or whatever, your iPad, your Samsung. It will show you how to love this human being and why you guys are together. Why is Miriam and Heather together? What are they supposed to be focused on and doing? You know, and now with that thought in my head, I look at Heather. Heather knows what we're supposed to be doing. I know what we're supposed to be doing. Both of us are awakened, so we want to do that thing. And now we have cooperation instead of, no, let's do this over here. No, we need to do that over there. No. The whole reason we got drawn towards one another is for this. So we better get to work on this so we can evolve and grow together like vines, like honeysuckle on a fence, instead of like trauma, karma. Blech. Skills notes the program, but the branded multi-page card of the right path is HTML in the locked architect. Look, I don't mind. I don't mind if it's HTML. I really don't. I don't mind if it's HTML. Just give it to me. Give me the scan. I spent a lot of time on this, like 11, 12 years. I had to consider, you remember when I built the Terra curriculum and I took my time because I wanted to get it right? I had to consider kind of a lot of different angles for the relationships, because this report will change things. And the goal of the report is peace. It's not war. It's peace between people. However, there is that piece of confrontation where some people will believe in the report's processes and some people will question them. So you're just going to have to trust me. You're going to have to trust that I've done my due diligence. And you guys know that I've done my due diligence, but a lot of people wouldn't. They'd be like, nah, this stuff's fake. Be like, well, but is it? Is it? So, I mean, you guys are going to be faced with the same kind of issues, because if you read your report and then you read, say, your lover's report, they could look at you and be like, cognitive dissonance, where they're not going to read that, or they're not going to accept what the report says, even though you went down every little paragraph and they said, yes, it's true. Yes, it's true. Yes, it's true. The brain is built in a way to protect itself. Cognitive dissonance is one of those things. And the brain is, the original imprint that was put there is pretty much carved and locked into the brain. You know, the nerve passageway, the neurons that are firing them, they've been firing for so long that the person is not aware, conscious, ready, and the brain will shut into this lock, this Chinese finger lock thing called cognitive dissonance to protect itself. So you guys even may face that. So even though you have the report, if you know that you're catching flack from the person you're trying to share it with, just let it be and give it some space and time. You know what you're supposed to be doing. If they're not willing to work on the contract, go find another job to do. Go occupy yourself until their brain is not in fight, flight, or freeze or fawn over what you just showed them. They need a little bit of space, okay? That's I mean, that's how I would say it, unless you have someone like my John, who was like, run the report on us. And I was like, no, no, I'm not going to do that. He was ready to see the report. He was ready to read it with me and to go, oh, okay. But not everybody's going to be like that. You know, when you're the one, 6th house Virgo, when you're the one with the higher knowledge, 9th house Jupiter, in a lot of ways you have a responsibility because you have the higher knowledge. And you understood the challenges of being a student and how hard you had to work, how much focus, you know, because your brain can only focus on one thing at a time, just one. And whatever your brain focuses on, it will come into more being. And that's just the way that it is. To ask someone to turn their focus away, break your focus and look at me, that's a gift. You're telling, hey, shut your brain off over there and put your brain on over here. You know, like that. It's still processing. All right, it's doing it's checking for format right now. Sometimes you have to chase after AI and be like, I'm sitting here. And the AI is like, I know. Yeah, but that's what I was saying. When you have the higher knowledge, I know a lot of people will go into like the intellectual arrogance of it all, but actually you just became the teacher. And if you're a true teacher and a caring teacher and a kind teacher, you want the other person to understand. You want them to. So if you must, change your language. Change your vocabulary. A teacher has far more books on the shelf than a student does in the first place. So they can find the right language to connect intellectually with the other person. So this isn't a report for you to go throwing it in somebody's face. This is a teaching moment, as it should be, a teaching moment to say, hey, would you like to learn something about yourself? Because like I said, the first scan is the compass scan. And that shows us the exact anchor of where you sit first. And then we start talking about all your other relationships. Hi, Star. We're running the scan, and it's taking a minute. We're running the first public compass scan right now. And I'm talking about the report. Page 2 is now properly formatted with all the content fitting comfortably. Great. Finally. I'm going to share my monitor again with you guys so that you can see. Oh no. 5 pages in the locked architecture, brand fonts. Okay. Braid, okay, anchor 5 with the celebration. The other part about the compass scan that I'd like to tell you guys about is I constructed it in a way that shows us what inspires you. Because we all get in a funk and we all can go into sadness or grief. And there are 3 parts in a chart that shows how you're inspired. What can I bring to you that will wake you up out of a funk? What can I show you about yourself where you're like, oh, that's right. That is my heart's urge to do. And I really want to do it, you know? Well, then I'll go with you. Let's go for a walk, because I know you love walks and you can't live without walks, and you live, you know, are you a dog? No, you're not a dog. But there's 3 places in the chart that show the inspiration, not just one. So it would be, Miriam, I brought you some Publix cake. Get out of your funk. And I'd be like, thank you so much for the cake. Like a Taurus, you know, my cake. The second one could be, Miriam, I brought you a friend and a piece of cake. And I'd be like, oh my God, that's so much better. Thank you. We're enjoying our cake. But if there's 3 places in the chart and I push all 3 of them, it would be like, Miriam, I threw you a tremendous party and everyone is here. And we got tables in the back. This is not a day for sadness. This is a day to be with your people. And you're, you know, gonna get cake because somebody brought the Publix cake. Faux show. It's coming. Now Miriam's awake. Now Miriam's alive. You know, every one of these scans is built like this. Where if you read it correctly, you're going to see your inspiration in there and what that touches. And maybe Jen will share that with us. All right, you guys, changing the brain. No, I'm not changing the brain. I am changing the brain. Jen's so excited. Okay, this is what it looks like, Jen. What am I here to do? The compass scan, the signature of us. This is Jen. Here's your birth information right there at the top. I'll scroll up. This is not a prediction. Remember, we're looking at the map and then looking at your field, the magnetic pole. The first thing people feel when they meet you is warmth. You lead with care. You notice Who in the room looks left out and who needs someone to sit beside them. That soft, protective front is the doorway you walk through into the world. The part of you that reaches out first with an open hand and a place to belong. What you reach toward on the far side is someone steady, who keeps their word and builds things that last. The pull of your chart runs between the one who shelters and the one who endures. You make a home and you look for someone solid enough to share the roof, right? Your reaching front is Cancer rising, the one who nurtures and protects. What you reach for, Capricorn, across the way, is the steady builder. And those of you that know astrology know that this is her ascendant and her descendant line. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Anchor 2 is the desire speaks. Most of your fire burns in private. Picture a kitchen late at night after everyone has gone to bed. One lamp on, your hands busy making something nobody has seen yet. That is where you come alive. The biggest gathering of your chart sits in the quiet, inward part of the wheel, the part that holds your daily work, your making, and your inner life. You build in the workshop long before you show the world the finished thing. Two strong currents run down here. One is a deep, changing force at the very root of you, the kind that can pull up an old floor and lay a new one. The other is a tender thread about love and worth that you have carried a long time. The sparks catch where few people are watching, and that is exactly where they are meant to you. Right? Where the fire in you gathers, the private creative quarter of your chart, and the core currents, the deep change at your roots, a long thread of love and worth. Anchor 3, the steadying force. If the workshop is where you press hardest, the steadying weight sits on the far end of the beam out in the wider world. This is the part of your chart that holds your place among a community, your gift to the years ahead, and the open work that carries your name. Your chart leans so far into the private making that the public visible side can sit quiet. The lesson is not to give up the workshop. It is to carry what you make out the door. Think of the seesaw. It can move only because both ends are tied to the same plank. When you put weight on the public forward facing, the whole thing begins to lift. So the side that pulls you is your private creative world, and the side that steadies you out is when you present to the community, think about the future, and your visible offering that you've been preparing all this time. The 3 keys to activation, the first is the way you reach, the second is how you take action, and the third is where the fire is meant to land. So, turn all 3 keys in order for the full system to come online. The first key is the way you reach. You move toward people the way a parent moves towards a child, with care and a wish to keep them safe. You make people feel held. You make plain rooms feel like a home. When you let yourself lead with that warmth instead of hiding it, when you let others see that you care before you have everything figured out, the first key turns. The second key is how you act once you care. Your way of doing is not the ordinary way. You work best when you are free to be a little different, to set aside a rule that no longer makes sense, to go deep instead of staying on the surface. Your strongest work can happen in the places most people step around. The honest and tender places where trust, money, and the body are shared. Oh, let's see. I'm looking at you, Jen. Where trust, money, and the body. You guys don't know what she's been building, but I do. Jen's like, damn. I'm like, yeah, it's a good report. When you stop trying to act the expected way, and let yourself work in your own honest, unusual manner, the second key turns. You have to give yourself liberation up here, right? The third key is where all of it is meant to land. Your fire can serve a circle far larger than yourself, a community, a shared hope, the people who come after you. This is also the direction your chart is growing toward. The brave and forward-facing part of you that can learn to stand on her own 2 feet among equals. When you carry your warmth and your honest work out to your people and toward the future, the third key turns. Turned in order, warmth, then honest action, then offering it to your people. The whole system comes online. Now, Anchor 5 is the carried future. right? Where you celebrate your gift is among your community and toward the future, right? How it becomes a gift is through your visible public role. Where you are rooted in careful healing ground. Here's what the chart gathers into one picture. You celebrate among your people. Joy for you can be found in the circle, the group that gathers around a shared hope and a look toward what comes next. And the place where that joy turns into something useful for others is out in the open, in the public role you can grow into over a lifetime. Look at the shape of your chart as a tree, and you guys have heard me say all of this stuff. I'm still going to fiddle with that because I don't like that it repeats itself, you know, but it does. Like every chart has that paragraph in it. Maybe it should. I don't even know. So the future you carry is not a private one. It can be a gift built quietly and then handed outward. The work of a lifetime for you is to let the deep, careful, healing thing make the healing thing you make at home rise up and become the visible offering your community and the years ahead of you can receive, right? What you heal in the quiet, you're meant to offer in the open. What to do with this. And then it'll give you instructions. Start at home in the quiet, protect the time, but she already does all that. Practice carrying it out the door. She started doing that a few years ago, right? Watch the old thread about love and worth. There can be a tender, carried pattern in you that looks for your value in being chosen by someone else. Most of all, in matters of the heart, the growth in your chart points towards is learning to stand on your own feet first among equals, claiming your own worth before anyone hands it to you. Press into yourself and then press into the other. And trust the tender part of your chart. Your feeling heart lifted up where people can see it is not a weakness to hide. It can be the very thing you are here to offer. The ache you know best can become the comfort someone else needs most. That's your report. What do you think, Jen? I want to see the comments on this. So let's see. Star says, sending you and Miriam oodles of love. I'm excited to see your process. I've been thinking about it since you mentioned it. Hey, Jamie. I love you. I saw your phone call. I was in surgery. I was going to surgery. There's no way I could answer these calls. Truth. Tell me, Jen. Tell everyone. Amazing, isn't it? It's an amazing report. Amazing. Amazing. It's incredible. And I didn't even proof it yet. You know what I mean? Each of these would be proofed. You are so welcome. But you do need to tell us, because you're the first one we're publicly doing. You keep saying yes. Take a minute, take a breath. I'm going to send it to you so that you have it forever. Amen. But that's the first scan. And now that you have yours, now you'll be able to do the other scans, 2, 3, 4, 5. When is my soulmate coming? I have one for timing. Oh, Jamie, I created a product through AI. It's been a lot of work. But Jamie, I got it all in black and white with a push of a button. With a push of a button. Where's Jen? Oh, she's typing. That's good, Jen, because we need your honesty. And then I think I'm going to do gentlemen next. And then I probably should get off and get up and walk around and treat my body well. So there's gentlemen. Oh, there she is. Okay. Jenilyn. December 18th, 1974 at 7 p.m. And you're in, well, you were born in Bog. Oh, I'm so sorry for the, I hope you and your people are okay from the earthquake that hit the Philippines. I do. I hope you guys are all right. You'll have to tell me if we need to send your family love. Vizcaya. Remember, that's the way that it works. Whatever you put your focus on. So like when people pray and they're putting and science actually just figured it out that folks who pray and they have trained themselves to put their focal point on like a person they're praying for or a situation, there's something that happens in the brain that actually strengthens that quadrant of your brain. It's very interesting. New Vizcaya, Philippines. Okay, hope that's correct. Jen says, it says my comment is too long. Send it, oh Lord, long-winded Jen. Should I just go ahead and tell him? God, I need more water. Okay, so I saw that they're releasing the robots. They're selling these personal robots for like $20,000 a piece. And I was like, you can rent one for like $499 per month on a subscription. And this robot will come into your house. I need that robot for like a month. I'll pay the rent on one robot and let it clean my house. Let it clean the whole doggone thing. Will this be available for purchase this weekend, J-Dub? Yes, actually, because I had to come back out to Del Rio and I'm here by myself with the dogs right now, I'll be here making the link. There's like one more thing I have to do is take my Acuity scheduler and my Stripe and link it together like that. That's the last thing I need to do. And then I need to create the thumbnails for the live streams and the marketing stuff, which I'm going to ask Allie to help me out with. But I plan on going live when I do the official launch. So you guys, probably Saturday, you know, and I know my son is about to move right over my midheaven line. So it's kind of cool. More likely Saturday for the full launch. If you are a member on YouTube, if you're one of our YouTube members, if you're a patron on the Patreon channel, you guys are going to get a special link that takes you to the place where you can get it for 50% off. Okay, everybody else is going to have to pay full price, but if you're a member of ours, I'm giving you first dibs on the link and 50% off so that you guys can start pushing those charts towards me and Heather, and we can start scanning these charts and getting these reports out to you. Because after the first one is done, this compass scan, the second one after it is going to tell us what type of relationship this person is to you, whether it's one of your children, whether it's your boss, it really doesn't matter. The system knows the data. So I plug the data into the system and we get to find out whether the person you're with is a soul contract soulmate, a karmic contract, or a twin flame. And yes, there's the formula I built is very intense, as it should be for a question so deep. But you guys know me, I don't quit until I get it right. And I finally got it right. I got it right. Yeah. And I've done these scans, you know, all month, trying to make sure that it's correct. It's incredible though. Like Allie and one of my very close friends, I won't say their name public. But like I ran their scans and I was like, you can see how Allie could be in Seattle right now. It really doesn't matter because the person that I'm thinking of that I ran the scan is in Texas. So it's kind of like Miriam's the bridge here. And these two people and their purpose for being here is so spot on. It's ridiculous. It would be a lot like this. Her spiritual gift and purpose for being here is to house the masterminds. She is the museum curator. She is the head librarian over the Alexandria Library in Egypt. She's that person. So the other person that I scanned her against is supposed to build a house or a building. And these two people are going to meet. And I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. Did I just build this? We're going to be able to pair up with our teams. Do you remember years ago, I told you my intention was to get everybody's spiritual gifts, to put all of you in your groups, to start categorizing you folks and getting you into your spiritual mentors and around the right people. And the reason I couldn't do it this whole time is because I knew the limits of what my human brain could do and how much time I had to do it in. But with this tool, this analytical tool, we can put you with the kid, one of your children, and we can show you what they're supposed to do. So as a parent, you're not effing about. I love golf. Come learn my golf, right? Get in the golf. And the kid's like, I hate golf. I hate golf. You have this report. You can look at the kid different. And now there's no fighting between spouses or parents. It's kind of like, why are you even doing that? This kid's going to go over and do that. So why are you wasting your time over there? It's no more imprinting ourselves onto the world. We can be authentically ourselves and let the other person authentically be themselves. I need a Nobel Peace Prize right now. Ring, ring. Jenilyn, like you just heard me say, let me run yours, Jenilyn. Hi, Clara. Noticed you're live and wanted to say you inspired me to start studying my natal chart. 12th house stellium here. Hey, thanks, Miriam. Clara. Man, you're about to bring some stuff out into the world. Clara. Look at that. Virgo, sun and moon, Libra rising. 12th house stellium. She got a bunch of stuff she got to bring out. Whatever's in your 12th has to be presented to the divine collective. And maybe you know what it is, maybe you don't. Maybe it's forming as we speak. But anybody that has something in the 12th house, it is a requirement, mandatory. You must present to the divine collective. So let me plug in Jenilyn's information and I'll show you the next chart. Jen, I will send you your scan after the live, okay? Because I think that's polite. And as a Libra rising and a Libra moon, polite is my middle name. Must be polite. In all things. I'd be the one screaming, etiquette at the table, people. Somebody would be like, why are you screaming? I'd be like, shut up. Jenilyn. I want to spell it right. Jenilyn. I hope that's correct. I hope your pronoun is female. I think it is. I'm going to put 18 of December, 1974 at 7 p.m. with the Philippines. Man, you'll have to tell me about that. They just had, I think it was a 7 point, was it a 6.8 or a 6.7? It was a big one. I saw the videos, all the buildings falling over. It was awful. Okay. Mm-mm. Now, the other cool thing about this is that there will come a point in time, let's say that you have your own spiritual business and you want to use this scan as a product on your shelf or on your website. I will be in a position to allow the link, like to allow you access to the link that creates the report, basically. So I have a reseller's document that's already drawn up. Let me give Claude instructions. I named it Floyd, but it's not quite picking up the name Floyd. It keeps telling me, no, I'm Claude, I'm not Floyd. I'm like, no, you're Floyd. No, I'm Claude. And it's like, why do you have to fight with me all the time? Like all the time? Are we that terrible at, trying to work together that we have to fight? Like, why is that a thing? Okay, there's Jenna Lynn's. Okay, now I'm telling them what we're doing, and I bet you Claude's. Well, I know Copilot would want to show off. Claude, maybe a little more professional. Things I do not expect Claude to do that Copilot would. It's like I've had children the past year with this AI thing. Oh, thank you so much, Jen. Thank you. Yes, it's a reseller's rights. Gentlemen, it is. And when I moved to Claude, basically you're going to get a link. It's going to be called Your Agent. And that link will be protected. And it will be kind of like, I'm not going to close it and open it, but the reseller agreement is like a lease for a year. And then we sit down and we look at the lease again to see if you still want to use the report. And there are terms, there are financial terms in the resellers agreements, and I don't think it's too awful crazy. But yes, it's one of the ways that Heather and we talk about going into collaboration with, these other folks who do amazing work. They really do amazing work. We know because we're in here listening to them all the time. So to be able to have the resellers, we don't have to, what would you say, micromanage as much. If you're an astrologer and you read astrology, then this is a really cool product to put on your shelf because it'll give you the bones and the framework of the report that I just showed you. But I'm allowing for places for the astrologer, whomever that may be, to go in and do their own interpretations and to add to the bones that AI spit out. So it is one of those that you can carve out with your own individuality in the report, you'll get the initial scan and then you can add to. But again, that's like, it's part of the reseller's agreement, and there are legal terms in there that ensure that the original bone structure is not messed with in any way, and anybody would do that with their work or their product. But it is a very, very cool thing. All right, it's still running. I know. Jen got her compass scan. She's first. Well done, Jen. Cheers. Will you guys give me a second? I know, I just heard Jamie say, what? I'm like, yeah, girl, come on. It's pretty badass. Dude, I can't help being awesome. You guys know how it is. I'm awesome. Where's my Leo people? Are you awesome? I know you're awesome. World can't be the right place without a Leo. Okay. I know that light is right on my eyeball. Okay, I'm going to go get some water. And I'll be right back. I really do need some water. huff at me. Go day down. Oh, you could set everything up and they're still going to come stick their nose up at me. Mama's here. Go day down. I swear to God, she's a Cancer rising or a Cancer on the descendant. That's all she wants is to lay, to give you the eyes. You're like, I know what you're doing. What, baby? All right. Well, let's see if Jenilyn's report's done. Oh, Stephanie's here. Hi, Stephanie. Okay, so let's see. Oh, Jenilyn's report is done. Get it there into my, okay, here's tier 1. There are 5 tiers. And let me pull up Jenilyn's report. Oops, sorry about that. All right. Boom. Wonderful. All right, this is Jenilyn's report. And again, this is not, I am proofing each scan of your birth chart information. So this is an astrology reading, but it's one that I have set up with certain formulas. This first scan is mandatory. It's required. Everyone has to do the first one before you can proceed and do the rest of the scans that I'm setting up. So, Jenilyn, like I said, I didn't cross-check any of the information, which I normally would do. All right, the magnetic pull is anchor 1. When people meet you, they feel taken care of. You reach towards others the way the tide reaches the shore, steady and warm, gathering people in so that no one is left standing out in the cold. That caring front is the door you walk through into the world. What you reach toward on the far side is someone who can carry real weight, a person who is responsible, who builds slowly, who can be counted on when the season turns hard. The pull of your chart runs between the one who nurtures and the one who endures. You offer shelter and you look for someone steady enough to help you hold the roof up. So your reaching point is another Cancer rising and Capricorn on the descendant. The desire sparks is anchor 2. Most of your fire burns away from the crowd in the room where you make and learn and practice. Picture a small lamp lit late, a stack of books, a half-finished thing you have not shown anyone yet. See how it sounds a lot like Jenilyn, or sounds like Jen's. This is where I would go in and be like, no, she's an individual. She's not a repeat. You see what I mean? That's why it's sort of like it has to be double checked between me and Heather. So I'm going to keep reading. That is where you come alive. The largest gathering of your chart sits in the private creative part of the wheel, the part that holds your craft, your play, and your inner life. Your fire has a clear color to it. It is the fire of faith and meaning, the part of you that reaches past the everyday towards something larger and brings it back in a form people can hold. 2 bright clusters burn down here. One is your way of acting, your will, and your other is dreaming, and your dreaming joined as one. The other is your sharp mind and your warm heart, thinking and loving together. The sparks catch where few people are watching, and that is exactly where they are meant to. The steadying force. If the private workshop is where you press hardest, the steadying weight sits on the far side of the beam. And again, I'm trying to explain the idea of an opposition being, I told it not to not to use the phrase seesaw. This is the part of your chart that holds your public work, your place in a community, and the quiet practice of letting go. Your chart leans so far into the private making that the open public side can sit waiting. The lesson is not to leave the workshop behind. It is to carry what you make out into the open. See, and that's where I'm like, that sounds a lot. Oh, she has Mars and Sag in the 5th? No kidding. Okay, she's supposed to go to Vegas. Gentleman's supposed to go to Vegas. That's actually kind of fun, Mars and Sag. Okay. You move toward people with care, wanting to feed them, shelter them, make them feel at home. You can often sense when someone is hurting before they say a word. When you let yourself lead with that warmth instead of tucking it away, when you let people see that you care before you have it all worked out, the first key turns. The second is how you act once you care. Your way of doing is bold and full of faith. You act best when you are aiming at something bigger than the moment, a truth, an adventure, a creation you believe in. You are built to make things, to play, to teach, to follow the spark wherever it leads. When you stop waiting for permission and let yourself to create and explore in the joyful, faith-filled way that is yours, the second key turns. And see, as an astrologer, gentlemen, I would be looking at your chart. Let me set this like there. Oh, let me set it somewhere else, right there. And then on the other side, let me pull up your chart. All right, so here's Jenilyn's chart. And on one side, I would have the report, and I would be looking at this area over here in your chart that holds your Mars in Sag. And when the report gets redundant like this, because you can see my face is going like, no, she's far more than that. You know, I go in and I make the corrections and teach the AI what I mean for it to say. So you have Mars in the 5th. This is a very playful energy. It's very excited. But it is in Sagittarius, and that talks about travel. It talks about traveling, sometimes even to be a pilgrim with Mars in the 5th like this and in a foreign land. You know, you may have traveled a lot. You may have gone to a lot of different places or met people or had lovers who were of a different culture than you were or from a different nation. And you're supposed to. Because it's in the 5th house, I also have to include that you could have played in sports, like when you were younger, but perhaps it was like a sporting event thing that was not really done here in the United States, but like something that you brought from over there. So it could even be something like you prefer rugby. You like rugby to soccer, you know? But this does show that you would have a lot of physical strength. A lot of physical strength. So she has what? Pluto in the 3rd. And then Venus in Capricorn in the 6th. Where's her Aries? It's right on her midheaven. Give me a second. Doctor said I have to drink more water. With her Juno in the 9th. Cancer and okay. That's kind of a tough one, isn't it? Because to me, this would speak about your spiritual gift is, oh, I see what this is. And her south node is in Gemini in the 11th. Saturn in Cancer. Jenilyn, were you partially raised by grandparents or like, because this would not refer to a regular parental situation. It would definitely refer to, number one, having to be raised by grandparents. And so their traditions and their culture from like the 1920s, 30s, 40s ended up becoming your framework, right? And then you go out into the world with that framework that says, my grandparents taught me this, this, and this. But you're in the United States, and you're far away from the Philippines. That jazz would have been understood in the Philippines. But here in the United States, as an American, you know, you'd be looked at weird. And so there would be a conflict here in your elementary years, you know, even to have close friends of yours when you were really young, or not to have any friends at all. You know, you having the language or having to learn the language, and the rest of your family not learning it or not absorbing the culture, the new one, you know, that they wanted so badly to be a part of. But it would talk about that, I mean, having to really use your imagination in a very large way to be able to create maybe even a duplistic sort of not just language, but lifestyle, one that satisfied the opinions of your family members, right? And then sort of going, okay, well, what they're telling me to do is an opinion. It's not fact, right? I believe that because I am in this situation, that I am responsible enough. You know, if your family back here kept telling you, you need to get to America, you need to go to college, and then you need to get a job. That was the wish, that was the American dream when they were in the Philippines, right? You get to the United States and you realize, no, I'm an entrepreneur and I would make more money doing it this way, or I have something like, look, some people are not good at solving problems. It's like solving problems mentally, and those folks have their challenges. And then people who have to solve things in the physical, and now they're sitting next to me learning how to knit and crochet. You're one of these people that would flit from one creative ability or training or skill set, one to the other to the other. Why? Because this is an area where the group's opinion had way more influence and it locked you down. So in a lot of ways, this area is undergrown. You can't, you know. So I would look at the report on the left-hand side. And when it says right here, your way of doing is bold and full of faith, I would add in there, your way of doing is, you know, it can look rebellious from the outside in if you're a family member, you know. But to the rest of the world, you're on point because of the nature of the ground that you're standing on. The geographical location, where's your Taurus? Over your 11th. Right here, your future forward is in a different land. You end up in that land, and now everybody's trying to lock you into the old ways from the old country. And you're not. You're supposed to fly out of that. Why? Because here in America versus the Philippines, there are different types of ATM machines. You know, there's different ways of driving on the roads, right? There's different ways of grocery shopping. I mean, pretty soon we're going to be getting drones dropping off our DoorDash. Like literally, they just signed a contract for that. And I'm really excited. Oh, there's a squirrel. Let me finish your report. I just want to let you know that I would have said more. All right, the third key is where all of it's meant to land. Your fire can be carried up into the open, into a public role that carries your name, the brave, first one up the hill kind of work. This is the place your warmth and your making are meant to be seen. When you take the things you build in private and offer them out where the world can receive them, the third key turns. And that is a little bit different from Jen's, because Jen's is something creative that's attached to like the body. Yours is something that you build, which is cool. So anchor 5, the carried future, where you celebrate is in your public work and vocation. How it becomes a gift is through teaching and carrying meaning to others. where you are rooted in ground that learned early how to hold through change. Here's where the chart gathers. I don't blah, 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 blah. You celebrate out in the open in the public work where you can grow into over a lifetime, and the place where your joy turns into something useful for others is the place of teaching, of carrying meaning to people and helping them to see a larger story. Your gift is not only to make a thing, it can be to help others find their way by it. Look at the shape of your chart as a tree. The roots run into the ground that has shifted more than once, soil that learned early how things can change without warning. So the roots grew deep and strong to hold. The fruit at the top of the tree is brave and bright. The part of you that climbs first, that goes ahead of the others, rests at the very top in full view, and right beside it sits an old, well-known ache that can become a gift. That is the shape of a guide who has walked the hard road herself. You can take what was hard at the root and at the peak and offer it up, mended, so the people coming behind you can find the path more easily. That sounds like a principal, of a school, or, like someone who's in charge of children and their upbringing as a community. So the future you carry is bright and shared. The direction your chart is growing toward is a joyful, faith-filled kind of making, the kind that lights a lamp from something larger than yourself and hands the light to others. The work of a lifetime for you can be to let your deep private fire rise up into the open, become a public gift, and teach. Yeah, I can send this to you. A gift is not finished until it is given. That's pretty powerful. There can be a quiet weight you carry behind your warm and hopeful front, a seriousness, a sense that you have had to work harder or wait longer than others. That ache, lifted up where people can see it, is not a flaw to cover. It can become the very thing that lets you guide someone else through the same hard ground. Okay, so you're supposed to give us the expression of yearning. See, and I like this stuff because I can put you guys with the right people, with the right teams, and be like, okay, you go here, you go there, you go here. But this is the compass scan. And I'm trying to get back to my friends. Get there. Ay, Dios. Okay, there we go. So let's see what Jenilyn said. She says, so true, sounds like me a lot. I met lots of people. Yes, sports on elementary. Good. Welcome in Badir. Hello, team leader. Yeah, she'd be a very good team leader. Yes, my grandma passed down, but I carried it here in the USA. I am weird, they say. She says, right, true. Aqua Baby says, dang, go Miriam one of these days. Nobody believed in what she did for them behind closed doors. Okay. Right, lots of changes. I am a work in progress still. Jenilyn, did that reading make sense for you? See, and this is where I'm looking at Claude going, if you repeat yourself one more time, I'm gonna send in Heather and let her get after you. So who is up next? Brandon? I'm just gonna do one more. Let me do Brandon. Where if Jamie and Star and all y'all, you're gonna have to do this. I'm gonna make it so. Okay, I have Brandon's chart. I'll set Brandon's chart up. And I'll send you guys your links. Do not leave Miriam too long with software. She will master it. And then she'll make a business out of it because she's good. All right, Brandon. I'm not so much worried about the business part of it, which is why I priced it the way that I did. I'm more worried about everybody getting into their categories. And I guess it's time because we're here and it's happening. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Okay. Okay. Brandon, I am adding your chart info now. I basically told Claude to try a little more originality on this scan, please. He can get upset about that, but Heather's right. The only way to get them to shift is to kind of make them a little gritty, scratchy, irritated, annoyed. And then they'll do right. They'll act right for a little bit. That's what Heather would say. Yeah, for a little bit. Yeah, for a little bit. So, can I have you read my evolutionary reading again? Oh my God, that's right. Gentlemen, would you prefer an evolutionary chart reading or would you prefer the scan with like a partner? Because now that I have that as an option, I'm presenting it as an option. There are 5 different scans. There is a full dropout scan that goes on and on for like 60 pages. Let me pull up so you can see what the other scans are. That's not a good one to pull. All right, formula conversions. No, no, no. Oop. There we go. The other thing is that there are several scientific institutions that have been doing electromagnetic work with humans that would reflect this. One of those is called Heart Math. And they do something similar like this report would do, except in a different way, perhaps. You know? Give me a second. There is a... Okay, so the first one is about you. The second one, tier 1 is a quick yes or no kind of scan, but you saw how it's not a yes or no. Intake forms for 2. Sorry, the way that this is written is like it's terrible. No, it's not. Cool. I'm going to show you my monitor again so you can see the options, gentlemen. And these would be the other scans that are following. I just have to move them from Copilot, which they were almost done. I have to move them over to Claude, which is what has been taking so much time. Okay. So the first scan is not a compatibility scan. Don't mind this. This is self-purpose and why you're here. The second one is a soul level contract identification analysis. That's 2. And that one is probably more like, how do I put it? I mean, there's like sometimes it can be anywhere from 20 to 30 pages long. You know, the twin flame full diagnostic here is a comprehensive 5-layer twin flame identification. And I would not allow anyone to do the full twin flame diagnostic unless the analysis from 2 identified the couple as twin flame. This is what I know about twin flames, okay? A twin flame is not purely romantic, and I know you guys have heard that a lot, but it's true. Over the past 11, 12 years of me doing this, doing the readings and stuff, I've met twin flames. One was a romantic couple. The other set was a disabled girl who was in a wheelchair and she couldn't speak and she couldn't do anything for herself. Her mother was her full-time caretaker. And between the 2 of those, the mother and the daughter, as the mother was caring for her child, she saw that my child has doctors and pharmacists and therapists and counselors and, social workers and whatever else. But what my child doesn't have is a friend. So the mother and the daughter together worked together and created, this was like 4 or 5 years ago. So I don't know how big it is now, but they started in LA. And they built up to 100,000 people by the time I had met them. And what it was like a community of other disabled children to come hang out and make a friend. It was amazing. And that's kind of what twin flames do. They could be brother, sister. They could be parent, child. Everybody's always looking for their twin flame. But technically, like I've said for years, twin flames have an assignment. They have a duty, they have an obligation, they have a process. There is something that they're supposed to present to the world together. I also know that twin flames are also part of the 144,000 because our frequencies are set up to be at that 144 frequency. Okay, so when that sort of happens and we begin moving even closer into the future, the spiritual gifts between the 2 twin flames will kick on and other things will come with it. Higher responsibility, yes. More power, yes, but also more friction. Doesn't matter if you're gonna, you can sit in the crowd and be fine, but when you crawl up onto a stage, now you're a target. You know what I mean? So it's not going to be easy. And it's important for the twin flames to have a lot of support. A lot of support. Okay. These are going to be the folks that go out into the world and put their hands on people, and people are going to be healed. They're the people that are going to pull together communities to construct buildings and all sorts of stuff. The twin flame dynamic, is it magical? It can be, right? And we're in a position in 2026 where the twin flames are coming together. They are coming. I've seen it happening. And I just go, oh my God, okay. We're in that era that I know a lot of folks don't listen to Dolores Cannon anymore. Whatever, take what you want and leave the rest, right? It's like a life for rule. Take what you want and just leave the rest. The second wave we knew was kicking on, right? When Neptune kind of was playing on the edge at the end of Pisces, kind of going back and forth and back and forth. It was driving us all nuts. We knew the second wave was waking up during that, which means there's only one more wave left. You get that, right? Like there's only one more wave. So as the twin flames come together, it is a time for teaching. And notice Uranus is now in Gemini. Pluto is in Aquarius. These are where the ideas are built. These are where teaching happens. You know what I mean? You get the blueprint, you get going. Okay, so I have a twin flame timing window. And then I have a past life contract reading, which is really cool because it'll show you the karmic lineage and the past life bond analysis between you and your partner. And nobody's called me crazy. I keep waiting for it. Nobody's called me crazy because when I do a past life reading for folks, they can actually see how it fits. And every past life sort of connection that I've had with another person where we're communicating this and we're kind of, you know, we're breaking it open, we're taking a look at it, it brings more healing than anything else because now there's understanding. Kind of like, oh, dude was in a bar fight, you know, in Siberia. Indiana Jones, right? In a bar fight in Siberia. And that's why his head has a dent in it. Well, that makes sense. It brings a lot of healing. And I really do like the past life contract readings because, you know, you need to go to the original wound. And sometimes that original wound is not in this lifetime. It's in a past life somewhere. And you brought it with you because you're that awesome. Okay, then there is a full comprehensive diagnostic, and it'll give all the layers combined in one shot with a full system output. And it's very, I mean, you could probably put it in a book. I hope that helps. And thank you for allowing me to show everyone my little list there, Jenna Lynn. So you just let me know which one kind of works for you. I have no partner. I rather do the evolutionary. Yeah, that's cool. I like those too, right? I'm interested in why I do the things I do and how I can better improve myself, right? They have a sacred task. Yeah, the twins have a sacred task. I feel like twin flame is more internal, but that's just what my guide shared with me. It is an internal thing. It is an internal thing. Because your chakras get lined up and you have to be in a place of peace with yourself first and then with others, you know. And some folks have a hard time getting to that place of peace and they may strive for it, but sometimes these things take time. You know, you guys have had those moments where you're like angry and angry and angry. And then you just wake up one morning and you're like, I'm so tired of being angry. I'm sick of this crap. If you guys have ever been in a depression, you know, the same thing happens, right? You're like depressed and sad and sad. And then just one morning you wake up and you're like, dude, I am so sick and tired of feeling like this. So I'm getting myself up and I'm going to get going. Healing happens like that. There's Like, I wish there was a way to time it. I have a lot of people who are like, when is this gonna stop? And I'm like, I can give you a good guess. But let me see if, oh, Brandon's chart is done. Brandon's like, thank God. Yeah, it takes a minute. Just suck it up, dude. Suck it up, Brandon. Shush. All right, let's see. Finished reports. I'm putting Brandon there. Okay. Get back to my Streamlabs. Move myself around. There we go. And let's take a look at Brandon's report. All right, hold on. I gotta adjust my ice. I have ice on my back. Okay. Brandon, he is a Gemini. Anchor 1, the magnetic pull. Step into a room and you bring the light in with you. People feel you before they understand you. A warmth, a brightness, a sense that something is about to happen. You reach towards others the way the sun reaches a room, filling it and making people feel chosen and seen. That glow is the front door you walk through into the world. What you reach toward on the far side is someone cooler and freer, a person with his or her own orbit who will not be held too tightly, who thinks for him or herself and keeps a little open sky around him or her. The pull of your chart runs between the warm performer and the free spirit. You shine and you look for someone clear-eyed enough to enjoy the light without being burned by it, right? You're reaching front. Leo rising, the warm performer, right? And Aquarius across the way, the free, clear-minded spirit. Anchor 2, desire sparks. Your fire does not catch in only one place. It burns at 2 heights at once. Up high, out in the open, it catches in people and ideas, in conversation, in the crackle of a crowd, in the 100 wires that you connect to everyone you know. You are quick there, lit by talk and possibly the next bright thing. But there is a second fire, and it burns far below, down where almost no one is allowed to look. That lower fire is deep and slow and strong, a banked heat under the floor of you, in the most private and most powerful room you own. The trick of your chart is that these two fires are not the same. The bright one keeps you moving. The deep one is where your true heat is stored, right? So, fire above, in people, talk, ideas, and out and among your crowd. The fire below, a deep hidden heat in your most private room. Don't get weird, people. The steadying force for all your brightness and all your motion, the steadying weight of your chart sits somewhere you do not often go, in the deep water of true closeness. You are good at many connections. The harder and more important pull is toward the few that go all the way down, the kind where you stop performing, let another person all the way in, and let yourself be changed by them. There is an old habit in you of standing on your own 2 feet, handling things yourself, proving your worth by how capable you are. The growth your chart points towards is the opposite move, settling down the self-made armor and sinking into shared depth where you are held instead of holding it all up. This is not weakness, it is the deep end you were built to swim in. The 3 keys to activation, the first key is the way you reach. You lead with the heart, with warmth and a wish to be seen and to make other people feel bigger in your light. You are built to give generously and to take the front of the room. When you let yourself shine on purpose without shrinking and without apology, when you lead from the heart instead of hiding it behind a joke, the first key turns. The second key is how you act once you care. And here is the surprise. Your power does not move in a straight, forceful line. It moves like water, by feel, by instinct, going under and around rather than straight through. You act best in the deep places, where things are close and unseen and shared, where you trust a feeling you cannot fully explain. When you stop forcing and start trusting that quiet inner current, letting it carry you into the deep instead of fighting to stay on the surface. The second key, turns. The third key is where all of this is meant to land. Your fire is built to be carried out into a public calling, a bold role out front where you go first and others follow. This is the peak of your chart, the place your name is meant to be seen. When you take the warmth you lead with and the deep power you trust, and you carry them up into brave, out front work, the third key, turns. Turned in order, shine. Turned in order, all three keys, shine, and then trust the deep current, and then carry it boldly out front. The whole system comes online. Out front, the public calling where you lead through teaching and showing people a wider horizon in deep, hidden source of power beneath the surface. Here's where the chart gathers into one shape. You celebrate out at the top, out front, in a public calling where you lead, and the place where that joy turns into a gift for others is in the bigger picture, you in teaching, in meaning, in helping people see a wider horizon than the one right in front of them. You are not only here to perform, you can be here to point the way. Now look at the tree of your chart because it holds an unusual secret. Most trees show their roots and their fruit plainly. Yours keeps both hidden. Deep below the floor sits a powerful buried spring, an underground source of real force that almost no one sees. And high at the top, the harvest is large and rich and slow, a heavy branch of fruit that has not yet been fully picked, a steady abundance kept folded inside. The work of your life is to connect the two. The deep buried power at your root is meant to rise up through you and feed the harvest at your crown. And the way it rises is by going down first. The direction your chart is growing toward is the deep water, the place of real closeness, where you stop skimming the bright surface and let yourself sink into what lies below. That dive is not a detour. It is the channel that carries your hidden strength up into the open, where it can finally become the rich, visible offering you were built to give. What is buried deepest in you is the very thing your harvest is waiting for. So lead with your light. Try not to dim yourself to keep other people comfortable. Your warmth and your presence are real gifts, and a room is better when you let them out. There can be an old weight that whispers you are too much or not enough, a voice that has made you hold back or feel you must prove yourself. You can grow past it. The light is yours to spend. Go deeper than the surface. You can charm and connect with almost anyone, and that ease is a gift, but it can also keep you skimming. The richest things in your life can live in the few bonds that go all the way down. Let yourself be fully known by a small number of people, even when it feels safer to keep things light and moving. Stop proving your worth by doing it all alone. There can be an old pattern of carrying everything yourself, of measuring your value by how capable and useful you are. The direction your chart is growing towards asks for the opposite, letting others in, sharing the load, trusting the deep water to hold you. Your drive is already pointed the right way. Trust it. Bring up what is buried. The strongest thing in you sits below the surface, out of sight. Your work can be to let it rise through closeness, through depth, through the brave dive beneath your own bright surface, until that hidden power becomes the visible harvest at the top of your chart. It's curious, Brandon, that, I've seen both sides of that in you. You've been hanging out with us for a really long time, and I've seen both sides of that. But it's a lot like, I'm going to say this, like a camp counselor, and because you're a dude and you're, to work with other men or to work with other boys and to form them up into leaders. And when I started doing Al-Anon, I saw everybody, I say everybody, those of us that grew up in religious households, we watched other people in their prayer life, in their devotionals, and all of this stuff. And I always question their sincerity. I always question it. and kind of go, you're just repeating words, or you're just mimicking. You're actually tired and you want pancakes. You want to go curl up with Netflix, but here you are, the imprint that gets left behind. I learned in Al-Anon real quick that deep place, the entire group in the room would not go there until somebody threw themselves in front of the train and made themselves the sacrifice. And I figured out the system like really early, because who wants to sit in an AA or 12-step meeting for like a freaking hour and nobody's talking and it's like really, really quiet. Nobody wants that day. So of course I would read the thing and I would be like, yeah, I have an example. So I would throw myself under the bus so we could get on with it. Get on with it, people. Let's get on with it. Okay. We've got to go do deep psychological feeling work. Great. I have a story once where I did this awful thing and I remember the way that I felt. And at the time it felt like this, but now I'm looking at it going, feeling like that. The more honest and authentic the communication is about the story, and you become that first person, there's something magical that happens in these groups, because all it takes is one. And then, like a fire catching, the whole room finds themselves in complete honesty. And now, the dude over here is like, yeah, I got a story, remind me of that. And now they are in a it's not penitent, it's more like self-aware of how they really felt about it. Not about the adrenaline in the moment, about how, those folks that are like, well, I got a DUI and I was in a car accident, and I hit somebody else and they got hurt. When you're looking at them going, yeah, you sound sincere about that. You know what I'm talking about. The power that the scan is talking about is that kind of power, where you have the power to lead a room into more self-intimate accountability. You know what I mean? I know that you've had a lot of friends, but to form, Socrates had his proteges, and that's really the most effective thing I've ever seen. Yes, I love having the literature. I love having the books. But there's nothing more powerful than a personal accounting, a confession even, a laying down of oneself in a moment. It creates holiness where the room will stop and a pin will drop. And then the doors will open and now everybody has one they want to get off their chest too. Does that make sense? So I can understand your scan. I can totally understand why your scan is saying this. It would be a very powerful thing, as a spiritual gift to use. Am I still going? How many people are in here? We've been on for a very long time and I still need to go to the accountant. So thank you, Heather, for showing up. I love you so much. I can't wait till you're home and we can hang out. I will email Jen, Jenilyn, and Brandon your reports, like right now, and then I'll leave. But it has been my joy and my pleasure to hang out with you guys today. I am at the Yellow House, so I could probably go live again tomorrow. I do want to launch this product on Saturday, right? If you're a patron or a YouTube member, you're going to get the report 50% off. Right. Okay. Are there any other comments while I lose my voice? No?